I love you, and and I love you, and and I love you, Maria. I love you too, and I love you, and I love you too, and and I love you, and I love you too, and I love you, and and I love you, and and I love you. Woo! This is actually my first time ever even playing this guitar. It's my my roommates. Woo! Nick, thank you. Go Aliens. Fuck yeah. What's up, Matt? How's everybody doing today? I'm doing amazing. I'm doing so amazing. And I'm going to tell you why, but I want to tell you why after I tell you how much I love you, because you guys are awesome and you guys are who I do it for. So yeah, hi, good evening. I wanted to have a live today, a little bit later in the evening, give some more people some time to check it out who normally doesn't have an opportunity to hop on our show and ask me questions and really, get the seeds deposited that they need. So I am very happy to be able to be here today. Michelle, oh my gosh, hi. I love you. I love you. Cool. I don't know how many times I'm going to do that today. I'm just going to keep doing it because I just realized how much I love playing guitar. This is like the coolest instrument ever, or one of the coolest instruments ever. Mary, Grace, how are you? I love you, and I love you. Ah. God, how are you guys doing today? How is you guys what day is it? I do not do days of the week. What day is it? What day is it? It is, let me think. Have we had Monday yet? Is today Monday? What day is it? I don't know. Monday, Tuesday? I don't know. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm excited to talk about today. Before I talk about today, I want to tell you why I am so excited today. I want to tell you why I'm more excited than I was yesterday, because myself, as well as the people on my team who are doing this light work and providing this healing to people, we had an awesome healing event this past weekend. It was, oh my gosh, so powerful. I learned so much. The people around me got engulfed in love, and we were able to pull a lot of things out of people and really open up some pineal glands and to really get those third eyes stimulated. And we were able to, we did yoga. It was just a very awesome Saturday. And then, because there's always a then, today's Monday. Happy Monday. Thanks, Travis. And then it seems like all of a sudden we all just got attacked. We all just had our own, oh my gosh. It was like, so like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? I mean, we had one of our healers, as soon as we walked out of the healing class, got into a car accident. Boom. That was the first thing. And then I get home and I find out that that the chief medicine man for the Native American church that I'm a part of completely disowned me. was like, yeah, you need to find your own chapter. We have replaced you. And I'm like, what? For what? And I never really got a clear answer, but that hit me, and then I walk into my house, and the first thing I walk into my house, and I felt this energy, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, something's in here. I was like, fuck. And I was like, this shit's gonna get the fuck out. So I go downstairs. I don't have any sage. So I ran downstairs to my neighbor who I knew had sage. And so I came back up here and completely saged off my entire room. I was like, yo, I don't know who the fuck you are, but you got to get the fuck out. So we had to clear all that out. My another healer friend of mine has had to expel like 2 demons. It's like, yo, it's crazy. What is going on? And then I got super excited because I'm like, this only happens when we are on the verge of something great. Like, gosh, like I'm like, bro, yes. Because that's the thing about failed attacks, is that it's only confirmation that something great is about to happen, and they are trying to stop that. And so, but they can't. And that's why I wanted to get on today and say, I love you. And let's talk about the aliens. I don't know where to begin. Yeah, I wanted to say that. I wanted to let you guys know that if you guys are growing and if you guys are evolving, know that the darkness grows with you, because it is our darkness. It's the light. So as our light grows, the Hermetic law or polarity states that the darkness has to grow with it. And so that is great because it lets us know that we are right where we need to be. So I wanted to say that this today for anybody who may be going through a hard time. They feel like things just completely compacted on them. These things are designed to make you think in low vibrations. They are designed to take you off the path that you are on, because they think that if they can get something that happens dramatically and instantly and without you preparing for it, then they can get you thinking negative. And that brings you down in your vibrations. And so we don't want that. So we are going to speak life no matter what. We are going to continue to manifest no matter what. And we are going to continue to love no matter what, because that is how we stay in the I love you. Yeah. All right, cool. So let me put this up because I got to put the teacher hat on. All right. So today we are going to talk about aliens. So excited to talk about aliens, because aliens are cool. Aliens allow me to really, really get into my imagination. We know that imagination is memory minus time. And so imagination doesn't mean that things aren't real. The fact that we can imagine it means that it's created somewhere on either a higher dimension or a lower dimension. Our physical low density bodies just don't have access to it. And so as we begin to talk about these things that are going to become more and more galactic and universal, you're going to start seeing a shift, because you got some people who are still on their journey, but they're a lot more attached to the material world, which keeps them from being able to use their imagination and being able to understand the bigger picture that's out there. And then you got some people who know and will know exactly what I'm talking about, know exactly what's going on. Today, we're going to talk about Ascension. We're going to talk about what Ascension is, what it looks like, what it's going to look like, and what it's looking like right now. God, I'm shooting with energy. I feel like I had like an entire room of spirit guys like, yeah, go get him, motherfucker. So yeah, we're going to dive right into it. So let's see, where do I start with aliens? So a lot of times we hear about aliens, we watch things on Facebook, we watch things on YouTube, and we hear about strange alien sightings, and like we don't really know what to think, right? It's like we see it, and it's like we're not saying that it's not true, but we haven't really had any personal experiences, so we're just kind of keep it in the back of our minds. In order for you to truly get a foundation on what is truly going on in this world, in this universe, it requires a few veils to be removed. So as I speak about certain things, I'm going to do my best to try to speak about things on a very, very foundational level. And then I'm also going to try to speak about things that are very, very advanced, because I want to try to speak to every person that's here. Also, you know, some people may be on their journey right now and then could come back and watch this video in a further part of their journey and be like, oh, that's what he was saying. So yeah, so I want to kind of keep the span open for that. How did I kind of get around aliens? Because, you know, maybe a year ago, I was still Christian, complete Christianity, completely, veil was still covered over me, you know, really, really delivering the word of God. And so I guess for me, it started when I began to study. I'm an alchemist. And so a lot of my studying started in Egypt. And that's kind of where I want to take this and start this off, because majority of the extraterrestrial beings came first to Egypt. That is why Egypt had this entire civilization that was able to be built and constructed, and people still don't know what the pyramids are for. So I'm going to tap into that as well. You know, let's kind of start with asking these questions on like, why, you know, do we not know anything about aliens, right? You know, even looking at Egypt, right? Egypt is one of the most advanced civilizations our planet has ever seen. In fact, almost everything, a lot of things that we know about aliens came from Egypt. But, you know, you ask ourselves, you know, how come we were never taught about Egypt in school? You know, how come we were never taught about the civilizations of Sumeria and Mesopotamia, the place that created the first language and the first mathematics and the first sciences and the first alchemies and the first religions? All this stuff came from Egypt, but yet we don't really talk about it at all. You know, so it's like, why do we, I mean, these things are like monumental in our society today. You know, mathematics, algebra, all that stuff came from Egypt. Why haven't we, you know, been able to dive into that? You know, pyramids. You know, how come we haven't been able to look at, you know, possible outcomes? Scientists are like diving into so many things, but no one's touching like how the pyramids were made, why they're aligned to the star constellations, why the Giza pyramid, which is like the largest monument on our planet, has like 2.5 million stones that made it, and each stone is 2.5 tons, and exactly 2.5 million light years away from Earth is the Andromeda galaxy. How come nobody is talking about that? That is not just a coincidence. Like, we could spend this entire conversation talking about just that. Like, getting someone to explain to me how that's a coincidence, how the Giza pyramid and the two pyramids beside it are directly aligned with Orion's belt. How and why? What is the purpose? And how did this civilization that is over 20,000 years old know to do that? And what was the purpose of doing that? So I want to throw all these questions out there, because I want to get our mind. We have to remove the veil. We have to remove the programming that is making us think that we are the only things here, because it is not true. You can almost watch every single alien movie all over again and just try to just take your mind and say, you know what? For this next hour, I'm going to believe that this is all true. And just see where your mind takes you. See what memories that may come back to you. See how you feel when you see or hear about these things. Because there are a lot of things out there that they don't want us to know, and that's what's being uncovered right now. That's the reason why, you know, these people who are bringing you this information are being attacked, because they don't want, these entities don't want us to give you guys the truth. Because once you guys know exactly how big the Earth and how big the universe really is, guess what? It's a lot harder for you to be controlled. So we are going to dive right in. I want to start, actually, I don't know where I'm going to start. I'm just going to kind of flow like I always do, because a lot of this is biblical. A lot of it's biblical. There are extraterrestrials that were talked about in the Bible. You have to know how to break it down and decode it and decipher it. A lot of it comes from a lot of ancient texts and scripts that have been burned over time, but now are coming back to surface. And so, you know, that kind of goes back to one of my videos where I was talking about how the Dark Ages, from 500 AD to 1000 AD, you know, you had these group of people who spent all their time just burning information for 500 years. Imagine that. For 500 years, they just spent every day going to libraries, burning down the libraries, you know, killing alchemists, killing these witches and magicians, these people, the Merlins of the world. They destroyed all of them, and then they cover it up by saying it was all a fairy tale, or that it had this symbolic reasoning to it. When the reality of it is, our world is just that cool. You know, that stuff is actually really going on. And so where do we want to start from here? I guess I would like to dive in with the Anunnaki. That's probably where this is all going to begin, because the Anunnaki has not like tangible information that you can actually go and research. The Mayan civilization has Anunnaki visuals written and carved into stone. And these were the first, were they the first beings though? No, they weren't the first beings, but they are the beings that are writing our history right now, I would say. I believe the Pleiadians, it's either the Pleiadians or the Lyrans, were actually the first beings here. But the Anunnaki is a great place to start. The Anunnaki are a group of beings. Also, before I even start this, I have some links. So as I'm talking about these things, I'm going to drop links to videos on YouTube that you can kind of watch, so that as I'm speaking these things and you're like, well, how do we know what he's saying is true, or where do we go look for it? I'll kind of just give you a head start on a few things. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm going to be tapping into the comments every single day of my life. I'm reminded how much I love you guys. Anyway, so yeah, if you guys have any questions, type them. I'm going to be trying to look at them every second I can, because I'm going to be moving kind of fast, just because I'm excited, because this is something that is very, very paradigm shifting when you can grasp it. And then I'm going to transition to talking about the Ascension and what's going on and how it ties into these alien beings and things like that. So, you know what? I'm glad I said that, because it gave me time to think. And I do not want to start with the Anunnaki. I want to start with God, the creator, because all of this that's happening is all a part of its plan. And so I want you guys to imagine, I want you guys to put your imagination on, right? And so I want you to imagine, you know, millions and millions of worlds out there, multiple worlds. And the creator is like, it's like kind of shepherding over these worlds, right? And so imagine, like, every single time there's a new world, there's like this protocol. Imagine like God like opening his briefcase and it's like, okay, you know, we have a new earth here. This is what we got to do to get it to its most optimal form. And so imagine God did that with Earth, right? And it said, okay, well, what's the end goal first? Okay, the end goal is that we have these cavemen, the first humans on Earth, and they're very, very primal creatures, very, very, fire, right? And so he's like, okay, so we're going to take this and we are going to transform this human being into a hyperdimensional being. We are going to allow this being to be able to time travel, to be able to jump to different timelines, to be able to be in multiple dimensions at the same time, to be able to speak and manifest instantly, to be able to do pretty much almost whatever it can put his mind to. It'll be limited only by its imagination. But in order to create this being, I have to create balance, because if we do not have balance, then without balance, there is no appreciation for self and for existence. And so we have to go through this cycle now of creating balance so that we know how to live as these beings, right? So our original plan for us as humans was to have 12 strands of DNA, all right? So obviously you see right now, we only have 2 strands of DNA. So something has shifted from the original plan, which really hasn't really shifted, but there's a process to it. And so the way that we create this balance, right, is that we have to have this yin and yang. We have to have this light and this dark, right? And then when they both come together, actually technically never really come together, but you learn how to live in the gray area, in the middle, the little S of the yin and the yang, which is what makes us hyperdimensional beings, right? So as God is preparing for this, he's got to use, God is like, it's like energy with intention, right? So this energy that has this intention of what it has for planet Earth, which at the time was known as what was planet Earth's name at the time? It was G, like GI. It only had like 2 letters to it at this consummation time, and so it had to come up with a plan. And so the plan was to create the darkness first, and then later on add the light to it, and then we are able to live through that balance, right? That was the plan for us. So how did we start? We started with the darkness. Now, the darkness starts with the Anunnaki. What up? And so that's where we kind of dive into, because now we have these beings who originated from the planet Nibiru. And these beings were living in their civilization. They're not bad, they're not evil, but they were living in their civilization, thriving. They had very, very high technology. They were very, very tall beings. They had other beings that lived on the planet with them. Things were pretty straight. What happened was their atmospheric shield broke, right? And when that took place, they needed something to fix it, because when that atmosphere shield broke, it caused their entire land to become desolate. They ran out of food. They started running out of water. They started having cataclysmic wars. And so now they have to find a solution. And so one of the Anunnaki beings came down and came to Earth, even though it technically wasn't supposed to. So I have to explain this, because as I'm explaining this, I'm going to be kind of stepping into different dimensions in different times. And so, in the complete outside dimension, we know that God has all of this under control. God has orchestrated all of this to happen to us. So now that we understand that, we have to go a depth deeper now. And that's where the Anunnaki were. So there are things that I'm going to say are like right or wrong or good or bad within that depth, when the reality of it is it's all in control of God. So it's all not really good or bad. But within the depth that they're in, there are things that have to change. In order for them to change, they have to be bad in order for them to become good. So kind of going to lead with that. And so this being came to Earth when it allegedly wasn't supposed to, because Earth wasn't fully developed yet, and tried in hopes to look for gold, because gold was the only thing that would be able to fix this atmospheric shield. All of this information, by the way, can be found in the Lost Book of Anki. Let me see if I can find that link for you guys. Boom. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to paste it right here. If I can. There we go. Paste and cool. So you guys can look in the Lost Book of Anki for everything that I'm saying right now. Anki is the, I don't want to jump ahead. So this being, I cannot remember this Anunnaki being's name. He was actually a king that was in the process of becoming dethroned. Someone challenged him to a duel. He lost the duel. He was supposed to lose his life. He instead ends up escaping and coming down to Earth. Tried to find a way to restore his kingship. So he said, if I can find gold that would help, repair the shield, then I will be made king again. Long story short, he goes and finds the gold that is here on Earth. So he radios back to the Anunnaki, lets them know that the gold is here. So they send an entire fleet that is down here. So they come and they had their slave workers known as the Gigi. The Gigi were like, I guess they would be the equivalency. I mean, technically, if you want to think about it, if the Anunnaki were Europeans, the Gigi were the African Americans. And so they used them as slaves to actually harness the gold and mine the gold, and basically use that to send the gold back to the planet and to be able to use it for what they needed. Over time, just like the African Americans did, the Gigi revolted. They tried to revolt against the Anunnaki because they were tired of being slaves. This failed. And so when that did that, it wiped out almost all of the Gigis. So now you have these Anunnaki beings, these godlike beings in comparison to humans, who have now don't have any slaves to work for them. So at this time, we're going to introduce Anki and Enlil, who were brothers, who their father was Anu. This is where we get Anunnaki. This is where we get Anubis. This is where we get Amen, Amen-Ra. All of that is all connected to the same entities and deities. It's the same reason why we say Amen in the Christian prayer when it's done is Amen. It actually comes from Amon, Amen-Ra. All of this is Anunnaki. So these beings had a discussion where they were trying to decide what they were going to do to find new workers. And so they saw these cavemen creatures that were very, very primal, didn't have much education. And so they said, okay, we can turn them into slaves. Well, and Lil wanted to just kind of do it like how the African people were, just kind of, train them, get them going, discipline them, whip them if they're not working fast enough, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have Anki, who is represented by the snake, who essentially says, well, we can actually use our technology, take a piece of our DNA, code it with theirs, create Homo sapiens, these highly intellectual evolving beings, and then use them to actually work and create. So they had the discussion. It kind of didn't go very well. Anki kind of went behind his brother's back and created Homo sapiens. So ever since then, kind of, Enlil was like, I'm kind of gonna get you for this. This is stupid. I can't believe you mixed our DNA with these beings, or whatever the case is. Fast forwarding, Anki's son, Marduk, yes. Marduk was this Anunnaki being that was infatuated with the idea of war. Every time he went to war, he won, he destroyed, but then peace came. And so what happened was the Anunnakis tried to get together and try to stop Marduk because he was taking over everything. Almost very similar to the way Europeans kind of consumed very large population of the world, in the early expedition days. And so when this happened, God came to Marduk in a dream and basically tells him, hey, you are going to be the God that is going to rule over Earth for the next 30,000 years. And then God left him. And then God went to Anki and Enlil, told them the same exact things. So this is kind of how this is the beginning of the beginning for us. And so just like he took place, so Marduk is now the ruler of war and now creates peace from war. And so that's how this entire society ended up becoming shaped, where you have this very, very large group of people, types of people who believe in this mentality that peace comes from war. So you have all these places now who are all going to war, fighting over land, but then having peace after it. This was the beginning of the darkness. And so now we look into what was next after they conquered was now they needed workers. So because we're in this third dimension equals free will. So that's the reason why we are able to live in this paradigm of free will. So the only way for them to actually create new slaves at that point is to build the matrix, because the matrix will now allow you through illusion to make a choice to choose to be a part of it. So that's where currency comes into play, because now you have these beings who are still currently here, who now are harnessing our energy and sending it out of our atmosphere to Nibiru. They're harnessing it, using it to control us. They can basically use us as human batteries, right? So you have this system now that is designed to drain our energy. And so this kind of fast forwards to the Knights Templar, who created the first taxation system, which was the first debt system. The Knights Templar this was during the Iron Age, and these individuals who were being influenced by Anunnaki and started pillaging everywhere. They were the ones responsible for collecting taxes for the king. And so they would take all the resources that they could, because this is the Iron Age. So iron is looked at as having technology. Not iron at that time is equivalent to having a nuclear warhead of today's time. So whoever has the nuclear bombs, America, right, has the majority of the power. This is kind of how it was back in the Iron Age. So the Knights Templar, they had all the iron. So even though they were required to go and collect taxes for the king, they were able to collect as much as they wanted to, because nobody was going to stop them. These were men who had been to war, came back. These were big, bronzy, had iron over, couldn't really stop them. So they went and they created this taxation system, and they completely dominated their country. So from that, I don't want to kind of get into it too much, but from that taxation system, the first banking system was created. Now, this is very, very pivotal, because the banking system is how all of us have been enslaved this entire time. Because the banking system was designed off of a debt premise. So how they set the original banks up is they would, I guess we'll start with the Jesuits. So the Jesuits were the people of Israel. They went to them and tried to present them with this, saying, hey, we can go and collect taxes in your land for your people. They were trying to run game on them, essentially. Jesuits were very, very intelligent, so they weren't really going for that. So they said, no, we're good. We don't want that. We're fine. What happened was Jesuits ended up going into war, because this holy war, the holy wars were, I guess I could talk about it now. the holy wars were fights over these energy fields, these energy planes that were being set up because the Anunnaki set up these energy fields that were designed to pull energy, positive high vibration energy, out of our realm to keep us at a lower vibration so that we would not ascend. That we would not acquire our 12 strands of DNA, so that we stay in the third dimension, giving us only 2 strands of DNA. So now we have the Jesuites who come back and say we don't want that, but they end up going into war. When this takes place, they needed resources. The problem was they were not able to get resources into the Holy Lands without being robbed of their goods. Because the Holy Lands, it took about 2 months to travel and bring resources to the Holy Lands. So when you were about to travel to the Holy Lands, you had to take about 2 months worth of resources. So 2 months worth of food, 2 months worth of water, 2 months worth of money, multiple camels, and you have to travel for 2 months, right? So how easy would it be for somebody who, doesn't have anything, that wants to take someone's stuff, to just camp out and wait for this large caravan of stuff, rob them, kill them, and now they have 2 months worth of resources. So the Knights Templar came to them and said, hey, what we'll do for you is that we will build castles from here to the Holy Lands, just for you, right? And so what happened is that when you have all this stuff with you, you can take it into this castle and it will be safe and it will be protected. And then while it's in this castle, we will have somebody assess how much your caravan is worth. And then once it's assessed, we will give you a piece of paper with a stamp on it that lets you know how much your caravan is worth. That way, instead of having to take all of your things with you to the Holy Lands, all you got to do is carry that piece of paper, show it to the castle that's built at your end destination with the seal on it, and then they will give you financial credit for that piece of paper. Poof! First banking system ever created. It all started from security. Remember how I spoke about yesterday? Anytime something is being presented that is an element to society, something that's going to put you closer into the matrix, it is going to be designed as a solution first. So the solution was, we will keep your stuff safe. Same as banks say, we will keep your money safe, right? That's how the first banking system was created. That's how the Knights Templar, who later began to become the Masons, got so wealthy to the point where kings were even borrowing money from them. So through that, the first banking system was created. So now we had a way to, now we know that currency, because we talked about yesterday, currency is, the first root of currency is current. So we're talking about energy now, or we're talking about a flow, like a current in a river. We're talking about a flow or an energy current, a transfer of energy. So now we have the first system that is designed to consume your energy, to keep you safe, right? So you presume, keep going. Now we're in the time of the early 1900s when fractional reserve lending was created, which gave banks the ability to lend out 9 times the amount of money that they actually have, and then be able to collect interest on the money that they lend out. This is the next enslavement, because all this is being, we see now, all this is being enslaved by currency. And so now that you have these banking systems, say you're a bank and you have $1 million, right? You can lend out $9 million to the public. So now that you lend out $9 million, you can charge 5 to 7% on interest on your money back. And now that lended out $9 million of fake money just got back, $15 million of your real money. And then they keep doing that. They flip it, keep going. So that way you continue to stay in the debt system because they're lending you the money, the fake money that doesn't really exist, which is how inflation has happened. And they can basically tax you and take your real money that you've worked for to make these people richer. And now that they're richer, they have the ability to influence the world more, therefore keeping them in control, right? So all of this goes and stems back from the Anunnakis. Now, let's take it back a little bit. We want to go all the way back to the beginning now. So biblically, these Anunnaki beings, now we're going to get into the ancient symbolism and see how our contextual scriptures are communicating to us the same exact story. And so we see how in Genesis of the Bible, you have the fallen angels. So the Bible says these fallen angels came down and made it with the women of men. These were the Anunnaki. So when the Anunnaki came and made it with the women, they created the Nephilim. Nephilim now are half alien, half sky beings, half gods, half man. And so we have these beings now that are on earth. These were the giants came in the Bible that were just very, very war-based. Hence David and Goliath. They were very, very violent. They had no real moral compass because they weren't really fully human. So they would like kill kids, drink their blood. They would rape women. They would rape men. They didn't care. And so this raised a lot of questions from the other beings. Not necessarily a lot of questions, a lot of problems from the other beings, the light beings who were watching over Earth. So when this took place, now we have a problem because now they are destroying our DNA and infecting our DNA by mixing their blood with us. So now we got these light beings that come into play and say, okay, we are not going to allow you to do this anymore. Now we have a cataclysmic war. So we have the Luciferian revolt, which represents the process of these beings that came down. And let me kind of break this down. So Lucifer means bringer of light, right? Light is knowledge. That's why we live in a system where we are left in the dark because we do not have access to this knowledge. So light is knowledge. So Lucifer represents the bringer of knowledge. The Anunnaki, when they wanted to come here and they needed our energy, we gave it to them because they gave us knowledge. And that's where we go and start off with things in Egypt because they came down first to Egypt. And they gave us the first sciences. They gave us the first religions by allowing us to follow them. They gave us the first philosophies. They gave us the first alchemy. They gave us the first anything, everything. They gave us tools and resources that allowed us to be able to build the pyramids. There are manuscripts with instruction manuals on how to build these devices that levitate, which allow you to pick up things that are 2 and 3 to 5 times the size and weight of man. So 2 or 3 size tons are not able to be picked up with these machines. The pyramids, they also have manuscripts, which I'm going to tag this in you as well, that show how the pyramids were able to fly, because they would paint the pyramids with what was it? It wasn't silicone. What the fuck was it? Oh God, I can't remember. But they would paint it with this chemical, and then they would put on the bottom of it. They would use mercury because mercury is what's it called? What is it called? It's anti-gravity. So it reflects against gravity. So you have the gravitational pull coming down on Earth, and you put mercury at the bottom of the pyramid, it causes it to repel, causing it to levitate. So this is all the information that we were able to get from these beings. Okay, so kind of talked about that, kind of dived into everything when it comes to the Anunnaki. Now I kind of want to move into Ascension. All right. What's going on now? So we've lived under these last 30,000 years in darkness. Now we are bringing the light. So what happened in 2012? The Mayan calendar ended. The reason why the Mayan calendar ended was because the Anunnaki was working with the Mayans. Again, look this up because there are ancient transcripts and there are sculptures of the Anunnaki beings. When you're looking at the hieroglyphics in Egypt, you will see, and this is very, very key because you will see how they, the height of the people that they draw on the hieroglyphs dictate who they were and how powerful they were. So when you look at these images, you will see that the pharaohs were a lot taller than the humans. I mean, than everyone else in the civilization. But then you also see that there are these other beings that are like double the size of these pharaohs. And they have the heads of animals. This is getting into the reptilians. So this is another alien race that came down here who took the shape. They wanted to consume the shape of animals because they thought the animals would be able to adapt better and they were more agile. So they had these faces of birds and faces of alligators and faces of hawks and all these things. And they were double the size of pharaohs. So who are these beings that are now trumping the most powerful people of that entire civilization? These are aliens. All right. So when they came down, they gave us all this information so that we would say, oh my gosh, you guys are the gods. You guys are gods. So it immediately took the focus off of us being the gods. And now, because we have a middleman between us and information, we now have a God. Now, you can see how this entire middleman practice has been used throughout all of society. You look at organized religion, right? What is it? It's a middleman between you and knowledge. You look at the medicine field. We look at how we take medication that only medicates us. It doesn't actually heal us. It's a middleman for our healing. You look at systematic education. It's like they don't tell us what we actually need. They middleman the knowledge and then give us only what we need. So we see this entire habitual habit going all the way back to 30,000 years ago of this middlemaning of information to receive power. All right. So these beings were these reptilians and the archons, another alien beings, were working with the Mayan civilization, teaching them, giving them knowledge, teaching them how to build up their civilization so they can continue to worship these beings, because when you worship, you're giving your energy away. So they're able to feed off that energy and become more powerful. So they, through the Mayan civilization, the Anunnaki gave them the first calendar, and the first calendar came from the Mayans, right? So this calendar was designed to predict how long they would be able to rule on Earth, right? 2012, poof. What happened in 2012? The energy fields they set up, allowing them to remain in control by keeping other light beings from being able to travel to Earth and uproot this low vibration energy, began to fade. That's when people started becoming awakened. People started waking up. I started my awakening journey in 2012, right when I graduated high school. The star seeds, the indigos, anytime you see someone on Facebook that says star seed, indigo, these are the beings that were put here because God has been preparing to bring the light. This is a giant party that God has been throwing. And so it's been preparing. So it had people on Earth that were going to be ready to help the collective increase their vibrations so that we can enter into this new world that has been prepared for us. And that's what's happening right now. 2012, the world did end. Well, excuse me, it began to end. And so now we are experiencing the closing of a new world and the opening of a new world. The closing of an old world and the opening of a new world. Now, what does that look like? Before I even continue, let me scroll down and make sure no one has any questions. Alien, cool. Great. I don't think anyone has any questions. Cool, no one has any questions. All right, so where are we entering into now? Now, this is a very great part because all the other stuff I said, you can be like, oh, yeah, he's just making this shit up. Cool, but now we can confirm what's about to happen next with how we feel, because now that the light beings, the good guys, have been able to come here and pierce our dimensional frames, they are giving us energy that's helping us level up. They are giving us this the fifth dimensional blue ray energy that is allowing us to remove the veils. That energy is allowing us to increase our vibrations in our bodies and actually shift and elevate our own consciousness. And we're able to leave the third dimension. So if you guys have been experiencing multiple synchronicities, yes, that's what's going on. If you guys are able to think something and then all of a sudden what you're thinking about what you think you may have needed or whatever the case is being manifested a lot quicker, that's what this is. If you find yourself, having a group of friends or a group of people that you normally hang around, and then all of a sudden those people are being separated from you for whatever reason, that's what this is. Your vibrations are increasing and it's separating from other low vibration entities. What else? If you are breaking away from the material world to the point where you don't want to work your job anymore. You're trying to find alternatives to make money so that you don't have to keep living this life. You feel like you're being called more towards your passion. These are all high vibrational frequencies, high vibrational ways of consciousness and thinking. This is preparing you for the fifth dimension. Now, what is it going to look like in the material world as this shift takes place? Well, physically, we are going to see the matrix start crumbling because the matrix can only survive with technology. Because technology is where the illusion, technology is the middleman. It's the illusion between what's on the other end. So what we're going to see is currency is going to begin to crash. Over the next 25 years, currency will crash. the government systems. We're already seeing that happen, baby. That's already happening. It's all crashing. It's all coming down. And so as this is happening, light workers are building the new world for you guys. All right. So now we're getting into this habit where we are intentionally manifesting things and bringing in this new earth. And now we're going to anchor it for people. And so the more people that begin to think these thoughts, the same thoughts that I have every day, the same thoughts that other light beings have every day, when you guys think these thoughts, you guys are bringing this world. You guys are anchoring this world here. And that's the reason why I decided to do these videos, even though I'm being attacked by low vibration entities frequently. I am giving you guys this information just to put the seed in you guys' mind, because as you guys begin to think about this, you begin to feel it. You don't have to, at that point, here's the thing about feelings. When you start reacting off of and moving off of your feelings, not your emotions, your feelings, you will begin to connect with your higher self. Because when you can get out of the mind, when you can get out of what makes sense based off the information you have, you are able to leave the third dimension. Because the third dimension is very material, right? So it's very practical. It's very sciencey. So this is the material world. So I can't imagine anything outside of this because this is actually here right now. So this has the dimensions right here, the science behind how this whole thing is constructed, right? Well, when you can get out of your feelings, you start tapping into the world of infiniteness, because your feelings are communication from your spirit. So now you're able to tap into the spirit world. The spirit world is infinite. The spirit world surpasses this physical world. So as we begin to make this transition, we are going to start pulling away from the physical world. The next thing we are going to start experiencing is time is going to start compressing. Now, let me make sure I say this before I continue. As these elevations of consciousness happen and we enter into new dimensions, the dimensions will always look the same, but your consciousness will be able to alter what you see. So when someone sees something that happened as a tragedy, your consciousness allows you to see it as a perfect blessing. So you guys are still in the same exact world, but you see something completely different. That's what it means to elevate your consciousness. So for example, all of you guys that were on here earlier, y'all saw I did not know what day it was because I don't live in time anymore. I was literally trying to rack my brain. Go back to the beginning of this video. I did not know what day it was. Travis had to tell me that it was Monday. Happy Monday to you guys. But I don't live in time anymore. And so that means that I've transitioned into the fourth dimension where time does not exist, where I continuously stay in a present moment flow. That's the reason why I don't have to write my messages down that I'm going to talk to you guys about, because everything that I need to say is in the present moment. Everything that you need to hear is in the present moment. Every person who watches this right now, you guys watch this because you guys were in the present moment. You guys didn't know when I this video, you saw a little thing that said Pharaoh is live and you said click. You didn't think about it. That's the present moment. So as we begin to elevate our consciousness, we begin to leave the third dimension and walk in the present moment all the time. But we also have to realize that to close out this matrix system, to completely live in the fourth dimension, we have to remove all time constructs. That's why I don't even wear a watch anymore, because it doesn't matter. Breaking the constructs of what time you have to be at work. Now, this is one of the biggest constructs to destroy because it is everywhere. That is the reason why we have Project Arcadia, because Project Arcadia is a system where there is no more 9 to 5 working. It is only waking up when you want to and doing whatever your purpose is within that community to serve your community and maintain that community. And then you have the freedom to do whatever you want to. You know, in Arcadia, the maximum time that you're working a day is 4 to 5 hours. So you have the entire day now to co-create with whoever you want to. So we have to break together. We've got to break down this paradigm. That's why we are opening this project up to the resources of people so that we can begin to build this and start farming people out of that matrix. The people who don't want to work there anymore, now I say, okay, just go here. You know, we're literally we want to have it set up to where you can just drop everything, regardless of how much debt you have. Fuck that shit. Don't pay that shit. Come live with us. You can get access to whatever you want, and all you have to do is choose to let it go, right? So now, but we're actually not even done, because we're not just moving to the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is the bridge. We are moving into the fifth dimension. Now, the fifth dimension is where I live. So even though I'm talking to you guys right now, Some of you guys are in the third dimension, some of you guys in the fourth dimension, and even some of you guys in the fifth dimension. What does it mean to live life in the fifth dimension? Instant manifestation, right? So not only am I able to live in the present moment and forget about what day it is and time, I am also able to speak, set my intention, and whatever I'm intending comes to me. It creates itself. I have mastered how to create and bring the things that I want into life. Now, this is an elevation of consciousness, because to be able to manifest so exponentially, there can be no doubt. So I had to practice, and I had to deprogram myself and remove every paradigm, every timeline, every single negative thought that creates doubt. And so part of it's education as well, because now we have to learn the laws of creation. So, like, for example, I'm in this space now where time doesn't exist, right? And so I manifest something and it comes to me exponentially. So what does time not existing mean? Time not existing means that there is no time limit, but also realizing that things that are in the process of manifestation also do take time, but the time is a lot more compressed, to the point where if you are living in the third dimension and you are trying to, let's say, start a business, this business may take you 1.5 years to get off the ground, whereas in the fifth dimension, it may only take you 2 months. So if you're looking in the third dimension, it'll be like, oh my God, time completely vanished for that. And really, it's just compressed to a point so small, you don't even call it time anymore. You're like, yeah, I'll have this and it'll be on this time and it'll all be perfect, right? This is where we're moving into now. So if you're realizing that you're speaking something and then the thing you're speaking right around the corner just happens, you are moving into the fifth dimension. Own it. Practice it. Start thinking about what you want. Start thinking about who you want to be. Start thinking about the things you want to manifest. Meditate on them. Envision them. We talked about this yesterday. Envision who you want to be. Be as specific as possible with what you're envisioning, and be able to taste and feel and use your 5 senses while you're meditating to actually visualize these things. Imagine there's a line of energy shooting from your pineal gland and it's connected to this thing that you're trying to envision. And then every single time you meditate or every single time you speak it, imagine just being pulled closer and closer to you. And then open your arms and receive it. Say, yes, this is what I want. Bring it here, right here. Set it up right here, right? So this is how it means to live in the fifth dimension. And this is where hopefully everyone will be able to come to. Because when we all get into this space, we will have a global ascension. This is what the ascension means. So we increase our vibrations to the point where we are able to elevate our consciousness. All right. So now we're going to break down what this means. So in order to increase our vibrations in our own body, we have to increase our cellular vibration. So the cells in our body, the atoms in our body, the protons, neutrons, and electrons, they're physically vibrating higher, right? So now these things are physically vibrating higher in our body. We experience an elevation of consciousness because our vibrations are higher. We are lighter, so we're able to ascend. Well, we are the cells of Mother Earth. So as more and more people become awakened and enlightened and come to these senses and separate themselves from the material world and begin to become lighter, lose weight because they're controlling their diet by not eating low vibration foods. So as this happens as a collective, the Earth's vibrations are going to increase. That's what the ascension process is. So the entire Earth is literally going to split, and it's going to have the third dimension, the same world that everyone's been living in that we are tired of, the paradigm of 9 to 5 working, overworking, paying bills and dying, and then starting life all over again and doing that all over again. That life is still going to be there for a lot of people, especially the people who are too attached to money, people that are attached to the point where they don't want to leave, where they are happy with their life in the matrix. That life is going to be there for them. But there's also going to be a life where people don't need the money to be able to manifest, because they will have the people, they will have the imagination, and they will have the resources being generated from the mass amounts of collective unity from the people to be able to manifest whatever you want. When we create now, we run into the hiccups of not having the resources. We run into the hiccups of not knowing the people to talk to, not having the support that we need. But as this global shift in consciousness happens, people start coming together. We are all coming together now. And so now when you need something, the person just walks through the door. You're like, oh, okay, I was just, manifesting you. Yeah, I need help with this. Okay, great. That's funny. You need help with that? I need help with this. What? Okay, we can both give our passions and our efforts to create this huge thing. Now imagine what happens with that, collectively, globally, when that happens. So the entire earth is going to shift out of the third dimension, and it's going to, vibrations are going to increase. We are going to enter into a fifth dimension, and that is where we will get our additional strands of DNA, where we will be actual higher conscious beings, where we will be able to travel. By the time I'm 52 years old, we will have time travel. We will have space travel, because throughout this time of people coming together and people not having to work these jobs, time travel is already here. It's just been hidden. Space travel is already here. It's just been hidden. All this stuff now is being unwrapped because people are seeking the answers now, because they are smarter. The vibrations are increased. So now all these secrets and things that we thought we had to wait hundreds and hundreds of years to find, they're being uncovered right now. We're like, oh, all I had to do was read it, understand it, get it to the right person, and then manifest and create it. So that's what we're going through right now, guys. It is a very, very beautiful time to be alive, because now once all this light comes in, it'll give us appreciation, because we have left the darkness. So we've had the darkness, we suffered through it, we lived multiple lifetimes going through agony and going through these lives where we're just learning and having to evolve and having to go through these loops, right? And now we're entering this period where we're getting rewarded for that. It's like, oh God, that's why I went through all that. Oh God, that was really my gift. I thought that was my shadow. And then you began to evolve, and creating that your full body becomes the yin and yang, where you've had the darkness and now you have the light. Now you can live your life as a balanced being. This is where we're entering into right now. So just by getting you guys thinking on this frequency, just by having this seed planted, you are contributing to this ascension cycle. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for being open. Thank you guys for, seeking that knowledge, seeking that hunger to be better versions of yourself. We've got beings that are here right now, currently here right now, alien beings that are here to help us. They are here to ascend, to help with this ascension cycle. Some of the beings that have been sent here could be talking to you right now. We don't know. But the good thing about it is that we will soon be able to find out, and we will soon be able to see this wonderful world and this true wonderful universe that we will now have access to. By the time this ascension cycle is complete, we will have access to travel to over 800 timelines, so 800 parallel universes. So we will essentially be living in a Rick and Morty episode, where we will be able to travel to different parallel timelines. We will be able to travel to other planets, because guys, all these planets out there, they have life on them. The problem is that our vibrations are too low to experience their life. And it's actually, we actually have a restriction on planet Earth that keeps like extraterrestrial beings from being able to visit. If they're not here for a purpose, then they're not necessarily allowed to be here, because the way that the karma loop is set up, it is designed, it is designed to have you recycle every time you come through the life cycle. So if you were an alien being and you didn't want to get caught in that, you didn't come to Earth. Well, once we ascend into the fifth dimension, that will be removed, and life will be completely like the movie The Fifth Element. And so I can't wait. I'm excited. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone's questions. I love what you said about low vibration energies trying to attack. I've noticed that I have started to tap into higher energies. I think this tries to make our brothers and sisters stumble in their journeys. We got to support them. We are the strongest in the collective, the tribe. So much life in what you said, Jenna. God, you're so amazing. I love you. But that's so true, because when these low vibration entities are trying to keep you pulled in this 3D matrix, a lot of times having that confidant, having that person, having a tribe who is able to pull you out and say, hey, remember what we're doing right now. Remember, we're ascending. We're not decreasing. We're not descending. We're not going back down. Having someone pull you out. Even me as a healer, when that thing happened to me with my chief medicine man, I for like 5 minutes I was like, what the fuck, are you serious? Like, and I had to catch myself. I'm like, I see what you try to do there. Not gonna work. Okay, all right, let's center myself back. Let me realize that everything is perfect. Let me remove my ego and let me release it. And just like that, I got up, I shook it all off. I literally, when I feel low vibration energies on me, we tend to tense up because we get emotional. So we tense up and our face gets tightened up. That's what brings us down. So it happened. Shit, had a small moment where we got emotional, but then we shake it off. And we're right back vibing up. And we're like, yo, whatever. If it happened, it was supposed to happen. Fuck it. You know? And then through that mentality, you're able to see why it happened. You're like, oh, I didn't want to be with that vibration, that low vibration anyway. Oh, that was going to hinder me after I received all these blessings that are coming in, because this person or these things would have hindered me from being able to do what I know I'm supposed to do. It's all perfect. So everything that's going on in you guys' life, it's perfect. Only your ego reminds you an illusion as to why it's not perfect. Don't let your ego do that. So remember, guys, this is a beautiful time to be alive. So much is happening. Find a tribe. Find a group of people who you can learn from. Find a group of people, other higher conscious beings, who are able to keep you in alignment, who are able to keep you in that vibration. It's a lot harder to bring 5 to 10 people down their vibration than it is to take just one. I love you guys. I believe that's it. These spirits done talking to me. I hear them mute. Spirit guides are done talking to me as well. So I love you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome week. I do not have a topic for tomorrow. So if you have something that you would like for me to discuss, please let me know. If not, Godspeed. See you guys in the new world. Love you. Goodbye.